Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is Miss Brianne, and welcome to our Let's Get Ready series. Now, you probably heard of this program before. Usually in the beginning, we usually prepare our preschoolers to get ready for kindergarten with reading and all these different activities like handwriting and motor skills like learning how to use scissors and drawing lines. Well, starting this month, we are expanding our Let's Get Ready program. It's from Let's Get Ready for kindergarten all the way up to Let's Get Ready for third grade. So this is a program now open to anybody who's in preschool up to second grade, who is looking to prepare for the next grade, and as well as for kindergarten to third grade students who just want to review skills that they just want to refresh. And this session is for our first grade students who are getting ready for second grade. Now, here's how this is going to work. In the beginning, I'm probably going to read two simple picture books with like 1 or 2 sentences per page, so you get an idea of how print goes and how to sound out letters, and they're very easy to say, and it'll help you sound out words just by looking at the pictures. Eventually, as we go further along, we're probably going to go to much larger picture books with more sentences and a little bit more trickier words, so I'll probably only read one of those. But as of right now, we're going to start with 2 very simple picture books. And then we do an activity based on phonics or handwriting, maybe even some cutting skills involved in gluing. Maybe we're going to learn some new vocabulary and so forth. But without any further ado, let's start with our 2 stories. Now, there's a theme for the 2 stories I picked. And I did this unintentionally, boys and girls. That's just how it worked. But it's going to be on best friends and how sometimes you always don't have to do the same thing. So with that being said, let's begin with our very first picture book. So here's our first picture book of the day. It's called Gossie and Gertie. So everybody say that with me. Gossie and Gertie. All right. So, Gossie and Gertie. The author and illustrator is Olivier Dunrea. Now, the author is the person who writes the words of the story. And the illustrator is the person who draws the pictures in the story. And this person, Olivier Dunrea, did both. And we also have a publisher, which is the organization or the company that puts the book into print and sends them to all the bookstores to sell. And the publisher here is Houghton Mifflin Company. So, we ready to begin? All right, here we go. Now, you may be familiar with some of these words, so boys and girls, if you see them, say them along with me, okay? Here we go. This is Gossie. And we got a word that you should know, is. Now the letter sound for I is I. And the letter sound for S is S. So I, S, I, S, I, S, is. And here's Gossie right over here. This is Gertie. And here's Gertie right over on this page. And you see I'm reading left to right, and we always start at the top and go to the bottom. Usually the words are mostly at the bottom. Are we ready to move on? Gossie wears bright red boots. Now, if you need help figuring out the color name, you can look at the boots. And if you know the color by looking at them, you can easily sound out the word. So if you need help sounding out certain words, you may look at the pictures for help. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But Gossie wears bright red boots. Gertie wears bright blue boots right here. So if you want to know who Gossie and Gertie is, because they look alike, Gossie's the one with the red boots and Gertie's the one with the blue boots. They are friends. Best friends. Isn't it nice to have a best friend? And it looks like they do everything together. What do you think they're trying to do? They're probably trying to eat a spider together. But isn't it good to do stuff with your best friend? Or any friend for that matter. But as you're going to see further along the book, you don't have to do everything together. So let's find out what happens. They splash in the rain. And like I said, if you need help figuring out a word, you can look at the pictures. If you know this is rain, you'll be able to figure out the word. But here's another simple word that you remember. In. Remember, the letter sound for I is I, and the sound for N is N. So, I, N, in, N, in, N, in. They play hide and seek in the daisies. And who do you think this is, boys and girls? Take a look at the boots. If you said Gossie, you were correct. They dive in the pond. You probably can't tell them apart here because look, you can't see their boots. They watch in the night. Now, what do you think they're looking for, boys and girls? Maybe they're looking for bugs. Maybe they're looking for bats. Maybe they're looking for the stars to come out. Well, let's see what else happens. They play in the haystacks. Have you boys and girls ever played in a haystack? Is it fun? It sure sounds like it. Gossie and Gertie are best friends. So it looks like they do everything together, right, boys and girls? Well, let's see what happens next. Everywhere Gossie goes, Gertie goes too. So it looks like they do everything together. So boys and girls, what do you like to do with your friends? Think about it. Well, let's see what happens when you don't want to do what your friend does. Follow me, cried Gossie. Gossie marched to the barn. Gertie followed. What do you think is going to be inside the barn, boys and girls? Take a minute to think about it. Could be some cows, could be some horses, could be some baby animals, right? Possibilities are endless. But let's see what else happens. "Follow me," cried Gossie. Gossie sneaked to the sheep. Gertie followed. So it looks like they're going towards the sheep. It looks like Gertie is still following along. Do you think the sheep has something interesting? Who thinks yes? Who thinks no? Well, let's see what happens. "Follow me," cried Gossie. Gossie jumped into a mud puddle. Gertie did not follow. So it looks like the interesting thing was the mud puddle, right, boys and girls? That Gossie wanted to show Gertie. But it looks like Gertie doesn't want to play in the mud puddle with Gossie. Now take a moment to think about that. Why do you think that is? Maybe it's because Gertie doesn't want to get dirty. Mud is very dirty, right, boys and girls? Maybe Gossie doesn't want to get wet. Maybe it's both. Or maybe Gertie, I said Gossie, it's actually Gertie who doesn't want to jump in the mud puddle. Maybe Gertie doesn't feel like swimming. Do you want to find out the reason why? Well, let's continue. "Follow me," shouted Gossie. Gertie followed a hopping frog. Well, we know the reason why Gertie didn't want to follow Gossie. She was more interested in chasing the frog than she was in the mud puddle. Now, is that okay, boys and girls? Yeah, it's okay. Sometimes you don't want to do the same thing your friend does, and that's okay. But what do you think Gossie is feeling? Well, maybe a little sad. Maybe a little mad. Maybe at this point a little confused. Well, let's see what else happens. "Follow me," shouted Gossie. But Gertie followed a butterfly. So it looks like Gertie's following all the different bugs and creatures, which is okay. Now, how do you think Gossie's feeling this time? Probably at this point, she's feeling, looking at the picture, she's probably a little mad at this point. Now let's see what else happens. "Follow me," shouted Gossie. Gertie followed a shiny blue beetle. And you can see the color of the beetle is blue, so if you need help figuring out the color, you can just look at the picture. And take a look at the picture of Gossie. What do you think she's feeling? At this point, she's really mad. Now she's really mad. But let's see. Follow me, shouted Gossie as she followed Gertie. Now it looks like Gossie is following Gertie this time. Gertie followed a trail of grain. Well, it looks like Gertie's now finding a snack. And looking at the picture, it looks like Gossie is very, very mad now. What do you think? Do you think they're gonna fight? Do you think they'll still be best friends? Well, why don't we continue reading to find out? Follow me, said Gertie. It's dinner time. Gossie followed. Oh, it looks like they found something they're both interested in. Dinner. So it looks like they're heading for their dinner. Gossie and Gertie are friends. Best friends. And look, it looks like they're eating their dinner. So, are they still best friends, even though they didn't do the same thing? And they're still best friends. Do you think Gossie's mad at Gertie now? No. Looks like all is forgiven. But that's a great story. Sometimes you don't have to, even though you're best friends, sometimes you don't have to do everything your friend does, but you can still be best friends. Great message. Now, I'm going to introduce you to our next book. And this book is called, it is based on another series on Friends, and it's based on a dog called Tiny. And the book I'm going to read to you today is Tiny Goes to the Library. So, we ready? Here we go. So, Tiny Goes to the Library. The author is Cari Meister. The illustrator is Rich Davis. And the publisher is Penguin Young Readers, which is an imprint of Penguin Group USA Inc. So, we ready to begin? Okay, here we go. This is Tiny. Remember that word, is. And take a look at the dog Tiny. He's not really tiny, is he? No, it looks like he's a big, large dog. He is my best friend. So we got the best friends, the boy and the dog Tiny. Now let's see if they do everything together. He goes where I go. If I go to the park, Tiny comes too. So it looks like they go to the park together. And what are they doing at the park? Looks like they're playing a game of basketball. And it looks like Tiny's helping the boy with the basketball. Why do you think that is? It looks like the boy can't reach the basketball hoop, so Tiny is helping him out. Let's see what else happens. If I go to the lake, Tiny comes too. So it looks like they're at the lake. And what is the boy doing? Well, looks like they're feeding the mama duck and her babies. Isn't that neat? Do you go to the lake to feed ducks sometimes, or the park? Now, do you, boys and girls, do you bring your pets to the park? Do you have fun with your pets at the park? Yeah, my pets didn't like the park so much, so I never really brought them to the park or the lake. Well, let's see what else happens. Today, we are going to the library. I get my library card. I get my wagon. Here's another sight word for you, get. Now the letter sound for G is G. The letter sound for E is E. And the letter sound for T is T. So put it all together, G, E, T. 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 Get. So it looks like they're going to the library together. Fun, huh? Why do you think the boy needs his library card? Well, he's going to need to check out books with his library card. Now, many of you boys and girls have a library card here at the Westhampton Free Library, which you need to check out your books and your movies. And why do you think the boy needs a wagon? Probably needs something to carry all those books, right? I got a question. Do you think Tiny is allowed inside the library? What do you think? Who thinks yes? Who thinks no? Well, let's see. Time to go. So it looks like they're going to the library. And how do you think the boy and Tiny are feeling? Well, it looks like they're very excited to go to the library. I would be excited too to see all those great books to choose from. Uh-oh. Look at the sign. Says no dogs. How do you think the boy and Tiny are feeling now? Probably a little sad. Sorry, Tiny. No dogs in the library. So in this case, they can't go to the library together. It's not like Gossie and Gertie when Gertie just didn't want to do the same thing Gossie did. It's just that it's not that Tiny doesn't want to go in the library, but he can't go in the library. That's a little sad, right? Let's see what happens. You wait here. So he's making Tiny wait by the library while he goes inside, while the boy goes inside. Is that a good idea? Yes, it probably is a good idea. Do you think Tiny will wait? Or do you think he'll want to play? He'll want to go out and play? What do you think, boys and girls? Well, let's see. I Go inside. So it looks like the boy's inside. What is he doing? Looks like he's choosing books to take home. Tiny stays outside. Why do you think Tiny is... What's Tiny doing? He's looking through the window of the library. Probably interested in what's going on. That's okay. I get dog books. I get frog books. So it looks like the boy is interested in dogs, obviously because he has a dog, and he's also interested in frogs. I get bird books for Tiny. Why do you think he's getting bird books for Tiny, boys and girls? Maybe because Tiny's interested in birds? Take a look at the window. Who's next to Tiny? It looks like a little bluebird. Do you think the bird and Tiny are friends? Probably, which is why the boy may have gotten bird books, or for Tiny, maybe why Tiny likes them so much. I fill the wagon. Tiny helps. So it looks like the boy is putting the books in the wagon and Tiny's going to help him out with that. Oh no! Too many books! I cannot pull the wagon. Uh-oh. That's not good. He made the wagon, got so many books that the wagon's too heavy for the boy to pull. What do you think is a good answer to this problem? Well, maybe he can take some of the books back. But the boy probably wanted all those books. And he'd probably be sad to take all the books back take some of the books back without even reading them. That would make you sad, right? Well, maybe the boy can carry some. Carry some and pull the wagon with the rest of them. I'm not sure if that's such a good idea. That may be a little difficult to do. Can you think of another solution, boys and girls? Do you want to find out what the answer was? Well, let's see. Tiny can! So the wagon was too heavy for the boy, but it's not heavy for Tiny at all. So Tiny can pull the wagon. Good solution, huh? Uh-oh, but it looks like Tiny's going very fast. And he's leaving without the boy. Uh-oh. Stop, Tiny, stop. Wait for me. Oh, so the boy is now chasing after Tiny. Uh-oh, what do you think will happen? Well, let's see. Oh, it looks like the boy's now in the wagon. Go, Tiny, go! So they're going home. Good dog, Tiny. So it looks like they're home now and they're reading the books together that they got from the library. Great story, huh, boys and girls? So the message of our books today is, it's fun to do things together with friends, but sometimes you don't have to do everything together. And that's okay. But these were great stories. I certainly hope you enjoyed reading them, and I enjoyed reading them to you. But now with that being said, are we ready to move on to our activity? Alright, so just bear with me for a minute while I move to the activity section. So just give me 2 seconds. Alright. So, oh, hold on. So, we have our activity for today, which is called the at word letter. Now, before I begin, I just want to let you know that this is a modified activity from the website Home Reader Helper. So if you're interested in this activity, as well as similar phonics activities to try, please click on the web link in the video description. But we are going to make words that end with the letters A and T. Now, the sound for the letter A is, say it with me boys and girls, ah. And the sound for the letter T is t. So let's put them together. At, 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 at. So it ends in at. And actually, at is actually a word, at. So, in the kits that you should have received kits when you register for the program, and in your kits you should have received a piece of paper with the words at word letter up top, and you should have received 6 construction paper strips in these colors. And what you should have on hand is a writing or drawing instrument in a variety of colors, glue, and glue. So I have my marker. So I have my markers over here and my glue over here. So here's what you do. Starting with the pink construction paper strip, hold on 1 second, boys and girls, I just need another glue. So you take your pink strip, put some glue on it, and glue it to as close to the bottom of your page as possible. Looks like you can see that. And actually, we are going to write our first word. So take a drawing instrument, and you're going to write the word at. A-T. So take a minute to do that right now. All right. So next, you're going to take your orange strip, put some glue on it, and leave some space, and place it above the pink one with the word at. Okay. Next up, you're going to take your yellow strip, put some glue on, and place it above the orange one. All right, next you're going to take your green strip, put some glue on, and you're going to put it above the yellow strip. Oh, and if you need more time to do these steps, feel free to pause this video in between to give yourself some more time. Alright, next up, you're going to take your light blue strip, put some glue on, and we're going to glue that above the green strip. And then lastly, we're going to take our purple strip, put some glue on, and place it above the light blue strip. And I know mine is a little crooked, I apologize for that. That's okay though. Now we have our first word, at. Now, can you think of there's going to be other words that end in at. What would happen if I put a B over here before AT? The letter sound for B is B. So think of this, B, at, B, at, B, at, B, at, bat. Does that word make sense, boys and girls? Yes, it does. So, one way you can do this is take another color drawing instrument, like a color pencil, crayon, or a marker, and you can, if you want, you can write bat. And you can use another color for this. Or you can use the same color for the letters AT, and then you can use a different color for the first letter. Now, what letter can we put in to make another word? What about the letter C? The sound for the letter C is k. So, k, at, cat. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. So, in another color, I'll just put the letter C. And I can actually do this for the rest of mine. But you can do it however you want. So let's get a purple for this one. Let's see what an S sounds like. The sound for S is S. So, at, Sat, sat. Is that a good word? Yes, it is. So we got sat. Now I'm going to try a green for the next one. Let's do H. So the sound for H is so at, hat, hat. Is that a good word? A hat? Yes, it is. So, hat. Now let's get an orange. Let's see M. Now the sound for the letter M is So at, mat, at, mat. Is mat a good word? Yes, it is. So fill it in with the letter M, or spell it out. So we have at, bat, cat, sat, hat, and mat. Now, boys and girls, can you think of other words that end in at? If you do, write them down. Here's a challenge. If you have bigger paper and if you want to cut out more of these, you can write as many of these words as you want and put them in your word letter if you have larger paper than this. That is perfectly okay. Give me 1 second. All right. And also, so put as many of these words as you like, and when you're done, if you want, you can make it into a ladder, kind of like this. You can do it simple like this, or you can be fancy. It's your project. You can do this however you like. But this is your word letter for the at words. Now, it doesn't have to be just for at words. You can use this for words that end in AN, words that end in IT, or other simple words, so forth. It's a great way to help you remember these words, which will make it easier to read. But this is our at word letter. And I have there's worksheets in your kit that follow up on the at words. So at your own leisure, you can complete those, and if you want to show what you've done, you can certainly take pictures of your work and send it to us through our ID Place email. But in any event, this was our Let's Get Reading session for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Next month, we're going to have some new books and another fun activity. So, take good care of yourselves. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.